Hey, welcome back. We are still waiting for other parts. We got our dash still ripped apart here, waiting for an oil pressure line to go in, and my friend drops me off something else. Looks kind of like a radiator shroud, but it's not. It's actually a spacer for the radiator that these cars had. It bolts into the radiator support and brings the radiator back a little bit further. I don't think six-cylinder cars had these because the engine was a little bit longer. And I don't think the big block cars had these too. It's only like a small block thing. This is the only one that he could find. And it has issues. It's slightly warped and appears to me slightly dented over here. So we have to straighten this thing out. Make sure it fits in the car, and then trip to the glass beading cabinet and a repaint. So let's see if we could straighten it out first. I wasn't even sure how this thing went. I would imagine, you know, the wider part goes to the front and the radiator is going to bolt in on this end. I was playing around with it a little bit, and to me it appears to be there's a little notch over here that kind of lines up with what's over there. So we have to get it to fit over here. All right, back to the workbench. So that's the top, so I don't forget for now. All right, it's mostly this part here that's all like twisted in. Beat it with a hammer. Sitting flatter already. 28 1/4. That's better. It fits in now. And then we found another problem. It's supposed to bolt in to the inside, and the radiator support has square nuts, whatever, welded in, little tabs. That's the only one that's here. The other ones are all busted out. So what do we got to do? We got dug up some nuts with a flange on them, and we'll put them in. We got to paint all the hardware, clean it up, but that will look somewhat factory when you glance at it. I got one on the top over here right now. That's what we're gonna have to live with. And this will have to be touched up too, where the other holes went through. So before we bolt this in permanently, we gotta touch up some paint inside here, which I didn't do before. Now we just gotta get this cleaned up and repainted. I have to squeeze my fat butt in over here to use the glass beading cabinet, and no matter how much time you spend, there's always more to do. When the dust clears, you see what you missed. And I missed quite a bit. That's an hour of blasting, and it still isn't perfect, but it'll be good enough. We'll just sand down a few little spots here and there and get this thing in some primer before it starts rusting up already. All painted and all dry. We even cleaned up all the hardware and all the clips. My friend dropped off a box load of parts. Let's see what we got. Firewall ground strap. That's going to go to the block, to the firewall. We got battery hold down, which was missing from the car. We got that. Oil pressure line kit. That's what we're going to be installing later today. Master cylinder cover, finally. What's in this box? Oh, a new OptiClean bottle with the sticker too. So that'll be one of the last things we're going to put in. And a whole clutch linkage kit. Because everything did not come with this car. The car had a 4-speed in it already, so... Oh, here's an important thing I'm looking for. The junction block for the radiator support, hook the wiring up. I'm going to put that into new boot here for The rod that comes through the firewall, we will put that in, and the rod that goes to the Z-bar can go on right now. So let's get all this installed. All right, we got to mount this up over here on the radiator support. I don't believe this is actually the correct one, but I think this is the only one that's actually available. It might be more for Camaro, but it does actually, it does fit up there nicely. And our wire will be able to hook up to that. And then we have another lead that's going to come off of this that's going to the positive part of the battery. We're going to put a fusible link on that. I have to figure out what size the fusible link needs to be. So we'll make that up and add it to the cable that we already have. Put the new master cylinder cap on here, and the bales that hold it down are, like I said, are all rusty. We're going to clean these up. Gonna hit them with steel wool or sandpaper, and then I'm gonna put a clear finish on them and then throw them back on. We sanded these down, and then we gave them a shot of Krylon clear. That'll keep them from rusting. The hold down's dry, and we put it back together, and I think that looks pretty good. Gives it a nice contrast. Well, the clutch rod boot that goes through the firewall, it goes in from the inside. Got to pull the little clip off to get the rod off of here. This rod's got some slop in it. We're going to be putting a new rod in. We'll get that out of the way. And we'll pull out those 3 bolts over there and pull the whole boot out. We got our old boot out. The new reproduction one has a washer that goes in there. This one was already missing. So here's our old rod. You could see the wear that we have on it. Over on that end, we'll be putting the new rod in, but obviously its appearance is a little different. The washer will fit through on the original one, and on the new one, that's as far as it goes. So we have to open that washer up or look for one that has a little bit bigger hole to put in its place. This is the wonder of reproduction parts. You could get them, but you need to make them fit. All right, a trip to the vise and the die grinder, and we have the washer sliding the way it's supposed to. That's screwed back in place. We're going to put a little dab of grease on the little pivot part, put our little clip in here, and this new rod is really tight to clear that. It's actually a little bit longer than what it should be, so hopefully it'll work right. If not, we'll have to seek out a better original one. Okay, that's all together. And now, you see another problem? That's a whole lot of daylight coming in over there. So, I'm going to strip caulk all that closed. I believe that's for the jute padding that's missing that had little rubber plugs that held it in place. But we'll close it up for now with strip caulk. We're going to put a new metal oil line kit in for the oil pressure gauge. I thought the factory used metal ones. I'm not 100% sure, but I don't trust the plastic one. Neither does my friend. It's a 3/8 fitting over here, and it really wasn't that tight. Let's get this out. Now, the trouble with the metal line is you need to allow room for yourself to pull the dashboard out to get to it again. So we're going to have to kind of make a loop to go that way and back out, so you could pull this in and out if you got to get back to it. All right, that is unhooked. I might end up reusing this nut and put a ferrule on the copper line. Hopefully that should work. All right, the original line is out. If this is original, I wouldn't want to use it anymore because it's older than me. The ferrule is like a wedge shape, and the replacement one has double-sided where this will come together and squash and make your connection. The adapter they give you will not fit on the back of the factory gauge here. It's made for an aftermarket one. There's another adapter here. So the end going into the engine is not a problem. We'll use what they gave us here. But what I'm going to try to do is get this ferrule out, fit it onto the copper gauge, and use the original nut. and hopefully that will seal. All right, I'm going to try to push this down as far as I can get, and then cut this off, put it back into the fitting, and then I'll be able to pull on the plastic to hopefully pull the part out. Well, let's see if that works. Yes, there we go. Okay, I'm grasping for straws over here. This is what came out of the car with a little wedge ferrule on it. And the inside of this fitting is straight. Now, I don't have enough room. In order for this to work, this has got a taper on the inside of this. And when it goes inside the fitting, it'll basically get squished in two directions. But I can't get that factory one to fit onto that line. In order for this to go in, let's say a regular fitting, it would stop right there. This would go in, and you could see, you'll snug it down, and it'll start to tighten up, and you have a gap still for you to tighten further. The problem I'm having with this is it bottoms out before it even starts to get tight. This is the fitting off the back of the gauge. It's already snug. That's still loose. How am I going to get this to work? Well, it's a little unorthodox, but I'm going to try. 2 ferrules. Principle will still work. Once the nut will start to squash, it'll taper that end in to make a seal, and hopefully on the other end too. Is this original? I have no idea. I was looking for other line kits online, and they keep showing me basically the same thing that I have. So let's see if this will work. I got 2 ferrules on there. Just gonna snug it up a little bit there, and I think I could tighten it more, and it'll finally make the seal that I need. So fingers crossed. We'll give this a try and see if it works. All right. Hopefully that will work. The line is snug. It's not really twisting in the fitting in there. We're going to run it around that way, because if you push it behind the dashboard, there's a lot of stuff that could ground out to this thing. So we'll have it shoved behind the radio down along in there. And now I want to try to test this. So I want to try to maybe hook up some compressed air to it and put a little bit of soapy water around here to see if we have any bubbles, rather than having a puddle of oil drop on your foot when the engine first starts up. So there's plenty of room still to snug that and tighten it down more, but if you tighten it up too much, especially with the spacers that I have kind of in there, the way I have it hooked up, it'll end up pinching the line off completely. So I might give it another turn or two, but all right. I figured out a way to try to test this, so let's see if it actually works. I got my Scrap Junior here is helping. All right. Let her rip, tater chip. Okay, we got pressure. All the way, full blast. All right, we have the regulator set at 50, so hey, that's actually pretty accurate right now. All right, so now he's holding this, and we will put some soapy water on the back of that connection over there. All right, I got some soapy water on a rag. All right, do it again. Well, it looks promising. I would say that that is good. All right, good. All right, thanks for your help, dude. All right, our fuel line, what are we going to do with this? We have a line coming out of the tank that comes over to this, that went to a filter and a pump, and then to the line going up to the front of the car. So we're going to try to move this forward. We're going to pirate the fittings that are on that piece and put them on this end and hopefully get enough of the braided line to make it all the way up to the mechanical fuel pump we're putting in. Eventually we'll have some holes here to fill up and repaint over. The line runs along the frame. I'm already loosening up all the clamps that hold the line to the frame, and I got to pull it back a little bit and then fish it up through a new hole. That should get us where we need to be. All finished. About an hour later, and one dousing of gasoline. I have the car jacked up just enough for when I pulled the blue hose off over there, it spilled right down on top of me. So we have it clamped off right now. There was like a bulkhead type connector to connect two female ends together already in that other piece. So we're able to reuse that. We pulled the whole line forward and put all the slack up to the front of the car. So let's see what's going on over there. We did a little fishing over here in the front. We used the orange wire, pushed down the frame rail to pull the line up over here. Now the fuel pump's gonna be, I'm not sure 100%, somewhere around here, there. So we have a little bit of slack left that we could go back and forth with it and then attach it to the frame in the back here. We got the fuel pump. That's gonna be the inlet on the bottom right there, and that's gonna kind of go right here. So we need to get a fitting for that. And then once the pump is in here, we'll figure out where it goes. Engine is all done. It's been dynoed. It's sitting at his house right now, and he's waiting for all the parts. All right, the solution for the missing motor mount bolt. My friend said, screw it, just weld it. So that's what we did. Repaint it, it'll be fine, rather than having a bolt that might interfere with your steering. So there we go. Solution. Touched up the paint down over there, and now we are just waiting for the engine to arrive over here. Hopefully this will be going in soon. Thank you for watching.